Molly, what's going on? Appreciate you coming on the D Greene show. How's everything going?
Hello. Good, good. How are you? How's Europe?
It's good. I feel like we're going back and forth. It's like we were gonna do this what was like a week or two ago, and then you were sick, and then today I'm like, man, this like cold weather is just like killing me over here,
Wait,
honestly.
you feel sick now?
Today I was just like, I don't know. It's like I think like you feel good, and then you go out in the cold, like you walk around, and you come home, you
Mm.
take a nap, you wake up from the nap, and you're like, bro, let me just sleep until tomorrow.
I think you lived in Florida too long.
Oh my gosh, where are you from, like originally?
Wisconsin, so that's why I'm like can't relate. Like I know the snow, but yeah, I've been definitely been sick for the last week, but feeling better and excited to talk to another human.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm actually from Indiana originally. So like I know the
Oh,
cold.
okay.
I haven't been in it. I was in Florida for like 6 or 7 years. And then we were like our daughter's like she never seen snow before. So we're like, oh, maybe it'd be kind of
Oh.
cute and cool to like go to like somewhere cold. And then like as soon as it started getting cold, I'm like, no, that's not cute. And even her, she's like, it might be cool to see it, but to be in the weather that you have to be in to experience it, now I'm good on that.
Yeah, it's more fun to go on vacation and be like, "Oh, snow," and then go home.
Yeah, so it's funny, like when you're like talk to another human, like I think like one of the reasons that inspired us to kind of do this, like we always have good talks, but like one of the things we were talking about is like in I guess kind of like what would you say, like the coaching industry, the consulting industry, the whatever you want to call it. It's like it isn't very personal or like or human. It's like you're talking to a bunch of bots, or like the thing that kills me is everybody's like, how's business? What's going on in 2023? Are you ready to scale? Are you ready to do this? And it's like, bro, like it gets so old every single time. Do you experience that too, or what?
Oh my gosh. Like, yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Like, I've been in business for like 17 years now, and it's exhausting after a while. One of my friends was like, she's actually not a business owner, but I still think I can kind of relate. She's like, yeah, I'm just not even going to set goals anymore. She's like, I just want to live my life. And I'm like, oh, I can feel that. I do like setting goals though. But yeah, every time I get a DM from somebody with like a sweet haircut and sunglasses, I know the high ticket pitch is on its way, man.
Yo, and it's so funny because it's like literally like I can tell like for the guys that do this, I'm like, bro, you're not picking up any chicks if you're talking to women the same way that you do DMs, because it's literally it will be like, D, what's up, bro? Love the cool stuff you're doing. And then it's like, so what's new? What's new in 2023? Are you looking to grow your business? It's like, bro, who doesn't want to get make
At
more
least
money?
they are giving you compliments. Every person that messages me, they're like, they know nothing about me. They do zero research. They just look at me and they're like, she's a woman, therefore she doesn't know anything. And like they message me and they're just like, hey, I know you're really struggling in your business and you need more sales and I can help you. I'm like, okay, 20-year-old, like, let's see. I don't think
Yeah,
so.
that's like so I think Dan Henry was maybe talking about this. No, it wasn't Dan Henry. It was someone else that was like, you know, it does get annoying at the same time though. Like everyone was kind of in that spot where they're learning. Like you start a business and you're trying to get sales, and like a lot of these people are saying like to do this. But at the same time, I
Yeah,
think
I
the
don't like
mistake
the cold messaging. Like, yeah.
I don't mind the cold messaging because like I met like friends like that, but it like
Oh, okay.
needs to be done like in a specific way. You know what I mean? Like genuinely. But
Mm.
I think the thing that I think people need to learn, and the thing that gets annoying is like people assume they have a problem and they're not even asking you like any questions. It's just like you just said, it's like, hey, like for me, like I'll get messages that's like, hey, we can help you like get more engagement and make more sales with your Instagram. Like, and then it's just like, would you like, this is who we help. It's like, if you want to like have more help, like book a call. And it's like everything in like one message, assume like no research, no nothing. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, it like even makes me not want to reach out to people sometimes. Cause it's like, bro, like this is just terrible.
Yeah, you had a really good point where you're like, "Oh, I don't mind people reaching out, but it needs to be authentic," because I've talked to my husband about this a lot, and, I've made connections with lots of different people. I've been in business for a really long time, and sometimes I'll join a mastermind, and it's pretty easy to make connections that way, but if you wanna make connections, like, first of all, you shouldn't be going into it being like, "Sale, sale, sale, sale," like, calm yourself a little bit.
Mhm.
But if you want to make genuine connections, one of the things I do is I will respond to people's stories on Instagram for months, like authentically. And I will build relationships with, I mean, big name people, you know, and I'm not joining these masterminds. Like I'm not in a mastermind currently. I have been before, but I will just authentically respond with, maybe they're looking for help with something. I will just give them flat out free help
Yeah.
with something. You know, maybe it's just like a personal, like this girl that I've been wanting to network with. She's like, "Oh, I'm sick." I'm like, "Oh, me too." And then we're just like chatting about remedies and stuff. And I mean, 6 to 12 months sometimes, you know, and I don't really have, it's not like I'm like, okay, 6 months and then I'm gonna, you know, no, like I just genuinely want to make friends with these people. Like I don't have the goal of making sales or anything, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes we just learn from each other. But yeah, authenticity, like 100% agree.
So let me ask you like this question. What is like like business wise, like coaching, courses, consulting, what is the most amount of revenue that you would say like you've been able to bring in like a year? Because that'll help me
In a
ask this
year,
next. Yeah, that'll help me answer the ask the next question.
yeah, a little over $2 million has been my highest revenue in a
So
year.
so all right. So how do we draw the line between all right, we shouldn't be reaching out to people or maybe not DMing people, but then also like, okay, you got to generate sales somehow. And if people don't know how to run ads, like, do you not reach out at all? Hope that you just create content and people find you. Like, I think that's where people get stuck
Mhm.
because it's like, okay, well, I've even fell victim to that where it's like, okay, like there's a lot of people that spam me. I'm not going to reach out, but then like your pipeline can like dry up and then you don't have people. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love this question. I've been thinking about it a lot lately because you know, ads aren't, for our company at least, like what they used to be. You know, we run some ads, but back when we had a high ticket offer, we all of our like I don't know, 80-90% of our traffic came from ads. But we have a course right now, and what we teach to our students is to start their following first. So the easiest way you can do this is with a Facebook group, and that way you're not cold messaging people. People are actually joining your Facebook group, and then you're posting saying like, "Oh, I'm looking to help these, you know, I'm looking to help 2 people, blah blah blah, in 2023 or in January or whatever." Tell them like the problem you're going to help solve for them, and then be like, "Oh, comment below or comment your favorite emoji below," or whatever that is. And you're starting conversations. You're not just going straight into someone's DMs day one, like, "Hey, Molly, I know your business sucks. Give me all your money." You know, like that is really intense. Like, I've never in my life purchased anything from anyone. Do it like coming, sliding into my DMs and like telling me what a crappy job I'm doing. Like, that is not a good pitch strategy. I will share with you though, I did hire a copywriter back in 2015 from a cold email, and I still work with him to this day. And I want to share with you the strategy that he did,
Okay. Yeah.
because I think you can, you know, maybe because it works. I mean, he literally got almost every high-end professional in my industry at the time to do email copywriting for them. But again, this can apply to like any type of pitch, right? So he emailed me, and he had taken an email or a sales page, I can't remember, that we had done, and he rewrote the entire thing. Like he rewrote it and was like, "If you put this up for 30 days and you get more sales, hire me. Like these are my rates," or whatever. Like he actually went in and did the work. He even made a video of himself going through our sales page being like, "Change this, swap this, like da
Oh,
da da."
nice.
And I mean, he knew what he was talking about. And like I said, I mean, I've literally been working with him since 2015. Last time we hired him was I think 2021. We gave him we didn't give him, we hired him $10,000 for a sales page we paid this guy from a cold freaking email. So like show value and help people up front for free. You know, people don't want to be told in the DMs like how crappy their business is. Like that doesn't make them feel good. But if you're like, "I'm here to help you. These are the things I want to do. This is what we can implement to get you more sales, to get you more money." Show that the money you're going to be paying to that person is going to pay off. And he didn't start at 10 grand a sales page either. He started lower and then sort of worked his way up every time we needed something. So, but yeah, I mean, still to this day, he pretty much blew me away with that pitch.
Yeah, I think if people would just a small like word such as if can change a lot of things. Like you can just say like instead of being like you need help with this, it's like, hey D, if you need help getting more
Mm.
clients on Instagram or whatever it is, like here's this thing. Or I think a lot for a lot of people, like obviously that takes a lot of time. If you have the time to send an individual message. But if you had a YouTube video that was like, hey, how to like,
Yeah.
20x your whatever on a sales page, you could send that to people and that's valuable. I've done that. So I
I actually
think
want to point out something that you did in on Instagram for stories. One time, I think you offered like a free edit to
hmm,
X the
mhm.
number of people, and people are like blown away by, wow, this is such a great edit. So something like that. But I think you're right that that applies well to like cold pitches. But growing an audience, like I think if you start out your business with cold pitching and you don't also build your following at the same time, it could be really problematic because no matter what business you have, like you're going to need some kind of following, whether it's on YouTube or whatever social media, and build an email list, because then you can start to get away from that. Because when we were doing $2 million a year with our high ticket offer, we weren't doing any cold like we never did. We never
Yeah,
did any cold messaging. And because we had a pipeline of leads coming to us. So
from the ads.
ads or I had a blog. So we had organic traffic from that as well. But yeah, you definitely want both, I believe.
So like let's go back to like the Facebook thing because again, what you said about like the pain point, right? Like don't just slide in people's DMs. Like figure out the pain point you're solving and then like see if they have that problem. And if they have a strong enough pain and you have a good enough solution, like you're gonna work together, right? So Facebook group, it needs to be centered around solving some specific type of pain or like what should people center their Facebook group around? Like I can just imagine people going, oh, I'm just going to create a group that's called D Greene community or something crazy like that, right? Like what should the group be centered around if they're trying to
Yeah.
build that?
Funny enough, you actually want to name your group, your Facebook group, something that is actually searchable. You wouldn't believe the number of people you can get to join your group that are actually searching for Facebook groups. So, with my last business where I was educating photographers, I had a group and I just called it Portrait Photographers. And it was just a place for portrait photographers to gather. And they would type into Facebook, like portrait photographers, professional
Right.
photographers, whatever. And then they would find that group. And so it was a lot of free leads for us. For my group now, I started out with it that way where it was more
Like a
searching, like
community
for,
base? Oh, okay.
yeah, more like searching for people who want to learn about courses. But now that we've sort of grown out of, like, we don't really use our Facebook group as much anymore. It's a great way to start. But now it's more like, YouTube, email list, all that kind of stuff. But now we center our group around our community. So we're called the Freedom Creators. And so we're really centering it around that. But yeah, I mean, if you want to get free leads, starting with the Facebook group, centered around like the problem and what people are searching for, needing help with, that's obviously relative to the thing that you're
Right,
selling.
right. Like for example, like I just renamed my group and it's called now like video content creation tips for entrepreneurs. And if somebody types in like video content entrepreneurs or video content tips, like it's literally the only group that pops up.
Oh, that's cool.
Is like the only thing. So, and I think like for anyone that's listening to this, like literally, like if you just type into like outside of what Molly just told you, like just go to Google and type in like how to name like a Facebook group. Like there's
Mm.
actually I was like doing that the other day, and there's like a lot of good resources because I see people just putting like, for example, like I can't really think of any like for I'll give a good examples. Like one of my good friends, I saw that she just has like a Facebook group and it was called like the health. I think she called it like the health hub, right? And I was like, oh, that's cool. However, it doesn't really tell you like why you should join or like what it is and like who it's for versus like natural healing for mothers or something like that, right? Like you know
Mhm.
exactly like who it is. And I think a lot of the times people maybe it's because they just don't know, but it's not very specific. And then you have a group full of like random people that don't know why they're there, what you offer. And then
Yeah.
you're trying to cold DM all those people and you're like back to square one.
I was actually just I was trying not to look like I was on my phone, but I was trying to find one of my students' Facebook groups because she named it really good. And I actually can't find it for some reason. But she named it something along the lines of like helping Etsy sellers get sales. Like, I can't remember the exact name, but it was something about getting Etsy sellers sales with their own website. Like, So it's
Yeah,
something, it says
super,
like
super clear.
sales beyond Etsy or something like that. And it's such a good name because it's telling people like you're an Etsy seller, you're already making sales on Etsy, but I'm going to help you have your own website so you can keep more of your profits. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, man, that's because it's like they might. I think so. The thing too is like obviously people probably aren't going to search for that exact name, but like they're going to be searching for Etsy, like Etsy
Mhm.
sales or Etsy sales, and then when they see that, it's super good. So I'm kind of just picking your brain here, but then also I'm imagining people are going to have these questions. So like,
Yeah.
all right, we want to get leads, right? And maybe we don't want to cold DM. So it's like, all right, create a group, and then those people have the problem, and then it's a little less spammy because they're like they've already kind of like raised their hand of, hey, I need this help, and they're opting in. But then you're kind of like, okay, well, I have this group, but how do I freaking get people into the group?
Oh, how do you get people into the group? Okay.
Yeah,
So the first thing, there's like several layers that you can do. And so if you hear me say one of these and for some reason you can't do that, don't just like shut down, just do some of the other
just
ideas.
give up, shut your laptop, and say, yeah.
Because sometimes I'll tell people like, "We'll add some of your friends." They're like, "I don't have any friends." I'm like,
I know, and then they're
"I'm
like, oh
sure you
well,
have some friends." Like, okay, so the first thing is, yeah, the lowest hanging fruit is like invite people from your friends list, but make sure you're only inviting people that are like you think could potentially genuinely be interested because
right,
if you
right,
feel like when you fill your first like 100 people in your group, that's like the baseline for your group. And it's only going to breed more people like that from there. So if you get 100 people into your group that don't care about your group, you're like probably never going to have an active group. I've seen this happen over and over and over. Um, Same thing if you want a diverse group of people, make sure that first 100 people is, a good group of people because you're going to just breed more people like that. So anyways, so you want to add people from your friends list, and then the next thing that I like to do is find groups with your ideal customers in them and friend those people. And then when they've accepted your friend request, then you can invite them to your group. Now, I don't think it's worth wasting your time like making all these value posts and like DMing people. Like I don't waste my time with any of that. I just try to get to 200 people in my group so I can start selling. And I just do that by adding people from my friends list and friending other ideal clients and then adding them to my group. Because the cool thing is when you add someone to your group now, they're not just automatically added to your group. They have to actually accept the invite. So that way you know that they're probably pretty interested.
and so, okay, and so, oh, so basically, you're not. So, like, what one strategy I see a lot of people saying is like, okay, go into these other groups, add these people, invite them to your group, and then when they accept the invite, hey Molly, what's going on? I just invited you to the group. Like, are you looking for help with this? Da, 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 da. You're not really doing all that. You're just like, all right, I'm gonna get them into the group, and then in the group, I'm gonna add value. And as they see
Mhm.
some of these posts and I'm asking questions, then they'll will maybe comment on it, raise their hand, say that you need help, and then that's how you're pretty much like generating that lead.
Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever cold DM'd anyone. Like it's possible, but I don't know. Not that I can recall. And if I did, I'm sure I already had like some kind of relationship with them. But yeah, so once they join the group, then I'm just posting some value posts. Um, and then I'll do what I call engagement posts, which is where you're posting saying, I'm looking for 3 people to help make 10K in the next 30 days, whatever. I don't know what your pitch is, but something like that. Comment your favorite emoji below and I'll DM you with more details. And that way, like they're asking you to
Right.
pitch them, and then that just changes the entire conversation because now instead of you being this like annoying person in their inbox, you're being a helpful person that follows up on what they say they're going to do. So, yeah, I think you just have to kind of switch the dynamic.
And is there so let me ask you this question. Are you not sending cold DMs because like it makes you uncomfortable or because you're like, all right, this is stupid, it's unnecessary?
I've I've never needed to do like so first of all, I don't do high ticket anymore. And I know high ticket like a lot of people do cold for high ticket. Even when I did high ticket, never did cold DMs. But I sell courses now and everything I do is like passive income. Obviously that's relative. There's a lot of work that goes into it up front, but just the other day like I got a few sales while I was like laying sick in bed, which was super cool. And they found me through my YouTube channel. So I just find that my time is much better spent, you know, growing a following, and our refund rate is like virtually zero. Like if you switch from letting people find you and then letting people be sold through like a passive vehicle, like for me, we have a automated webinar funnel. These people are finding you. They're choosing to opt into your funnel. They're choosing to listen to your sales pitch, and then they're choosing to purchase. Never once have you been like, "Oh, I really think you should do this," or like trying to talk them into it. I just find that that usually will result in a higher refund rate, or people feeling like they got talked into something that they maybe didn't want to purchase. So, anyways, those are just my 2 cents. I also just I don't find cold DMing fun. Like, so yeah, I guess it does make me uncomfortable. I don't enjoy receiving them. Yeah.
One shift that we've been trying to make over the past year is
You're like,
like,
I have a cold DMing course.
no, I really don't like it that much. However, I'm also in the mindset of like sometimes you have to do things that you don't want to do, but
That's true. Like if you
that
really
doesn't
need
mean you have
sales.
to do it in the wrong way. Like you still need to do it in the right way, right? So it's like, for example, right? If you are like, I see some of my female friends, like I'm like, they're single and they are not really complaining about it, but they wish they had someone. And then it's like, well, what are you doing to maybe meet more men? And they're like, I don't like to get on dating apps or like talk to anyone. I just want to like be, in the streets and he bumps into me and I drop all my
Oh my
homework
God.
and
I love this
it's like,
conversation because I always tell my
no.
friends, I'm like, make a funnel, make a pipeline. Like if you do like I'm all like, if you do this many dates and then this many people you connect with, I'm like, it's just math. Like, no, I love it.
So like I think so it's like there might be a time where you're in the grocery store and yeah, you're not gonna talk to every single person and like you gotta know what to say and all this type of stuff, but you might have to be proactive. So I'm more like I don't
True.
like the cold DMing, but I think if you have a business that's not making any money and you're just sitting there waiting for people to find you on YouTube and it's not working, it's different if it is, but if it's not, you might have to reach out to people. But the thing
And
that we're trying to do
I just want to say one thing. Sorry. I agree with you, especially because like with my course, the first thing I have them do is start the Facebook group and then make those engagement posts because I really like I just want to highlight what you said here. That's important. I think if you start out day one, like I'm just gonna make a YouTube and hope for sales, you do need to prove your concept. Like I proved my concept and got sales before I was like tripling down on traffic. So yeah, I definitely
concept as far as like what the services that you're providing.
sorry, what was that?
When you say proving your concept, you're talking about the concept of the service you're providing, like that you can
Yes.
actually
So let's say I have a course for sale. My first step is not going to be like, I'm going to grow on YouTube because that could take a really long time to make a sale, even if you have a proven concept, you know?
right,
So
right.
so you're not gonna know if it's YouTube, if it's your videos. There's too many variables you're not gonna know. But if you're doing something like you said, like messaging people, like I don't do it cold, but whatever way you want to message people, you're gonna get direct feedback from these people. You're gonna know right away like why they're not buying. Like and then you can really prove your concept. Then you can start to like automate things, grow your traffic. I totally agree with what you're saying.
I think like the way I look at cold DMs is like I don't know what to compare it to, but it's more like a means to an end kind of. Like it's like if things are slow, I might do this to pick it up while my channel is growing, while my Facebook group is growing. So I can maybe get those first 3 clients that way I have results to show. However, the thing I see a lot of people doing is like that's the only freaking thing they do. And I'm like, that just leaves you to be stuck doing that forever. And
Yep.
I think that leaves it to where like you have no like authority. Like you're like Dan Henry's always saying in the group, like you're just like basically begging these people to join
Mhm.
versus like Louis Vuitton, for example. They're not out in the mall like, hey, do you want a sweater? Hey, do you want a bag? You know what I mean? Like people are
You know
buying
what? That is a
from
fantastic example. Cold DMing is like being the perfume spray people in the mall, or you're like spraying people in the eye and they're like, "Get away from me." You know? And then yeah, like Louis Vuitton, like they're like the YouTube or whatever, where like they're just sitting back. They're just like letting you come and buy stuff, you know?
But then I think to that point though, the people that are spraying in the mall, while that's annoying, are also better than the single mom that has a perfume idea that doesn't ever reach out to anyone because she thinks they're gonna just knock on her door.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you
I definitely agree with you. I mean,
yeah,
I think there's a I think basically what we're talking about here, correct me if I'm wrong, is like short-term strategy versus long-term strategy.
Yes,
Like
exactly,
like in the
exactly.
beginning, you have to do some short term to like prove your concept. That's probably what those perfume people are doing, proving like that this is a good scent or whatever. I have no idea. Um, but they're just spraying in the mall. I love that.
Trying to make a quick
But yeah, and then, your long term can be more where like you've proven your concept. I mean, for example, so I started with the Facebook group. Then I went to doing live webinars every single week. I did live webinars every week from October till June, every week. Even I was one time I got like really sick.
October to June?
October to June, yeah.
Oh
I
my
got really sick while I was in Miami and I was like taking all these drugs and I was just like doing my webinar. Like, I wouldn't recommend it forever, but it really helped me to hone
rappers do that
in.
forever, so
What was that?
I said rappers do that forever, so you never know.
Every week. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, so every week I did my pitch. And what's cool is at first it only converted at, I don't remember, like 5% or something. We got it all the way up to like 30% on the live webinar. And you want to make sure that you get your conversion rate really, really high because when you go to automate it, it's going to be way lower. So like if it's already low when you're live, it's going to be extremely low when it's automated. But, since we were at like 25, 30% or whatever it was, now with automated, we're at 5%, which is really, really high for an automated funnel. So anyways, I won't bore everyone with automated funnels, but um, like I said, it's like there's certain, short-term strategies that you kind of need to do to get yourself to the future of where you want to be. But just like you said, don't get stuck at that level. Like you have to be able to see the future and see where you're going and use those short-term strategies as stepping stones versus just
Yeah.
like doing a cold DM perfume
Like,
sprayer forever.
I think the issue. All right, so this is the difference, right? Some of those people that are, let's say, the perfume sprayer or whatever in the middle of the mall, they're I don't know. I don't know this for a fact, but my guess is like 99% of the time, they're just really trying to make some money by selling you this perfume or whatever it is. However, these brands like Louis Vuitton, all these higher end brands are passionate about what they do and they want to be the best at that and they want to be known for that. And that's why people come. And they have the products that back it up, right? That people want to buy, that look good, smell good, whatever. I think the issue is like there's a lot of people that see coaching as just a way to make a lot of money. And therefore they don't really care about what they're coaching about. They probably don't
Mm,
have the experience in it. They just learned it from someone else. Now they're reteaching it and they don't want to take the time to get on YouTube and talk about something, all these different types of things.
mm,
So they just say, oh, if I just DM a lot of people, it's just the percentages. I book X amount of calls every single month, close X amount of people, and then I'll keep making this money. The issue is, though, that if you have somebody like me or you that comes along in that same niche and we're willing to take the time to build up that following, that's who people want to work with. They want to work with people that they found on a YouTube that they like, know, trust, that they built the following with, like on Instagram, on a Facebook group. And so that was always like my thing of like, okay, I could do the DM short term, but I have to also be building
mhm,
some type of following and creating content, doing podcasts, all these types of things that people actually like. And eventually I want people to come to me. Even if I'm DMing someone, I'm just more or less like talking to them if they have the problem. And then I'm like, hey, we have this solution. If this is something that you're interested in, here's all this stuff that you can look at and then you can apply. That's how I word it. I'm not like, oh, let's get on a call and let's talk and like don't give
no,
them any
that's good
information.
because, like I said, I mean, I know this from the data from my companies. Like, if you word it like, let's get on a call, like almost like you're enticing them to do it
Exactly.
versus like, oh, if you'd like help, click here or whatever, your refund rates are going to be significantly different. Like, I have the data to back this up.
Oh yeah,
So,
we don't have any.
exactly, exactly. And it's also because you do so much organic content. Like we've also noticed how much organic content is literally relative to like refund rate. And refund rate is so important. I think a lot of people, I hate to say it, but I do see it in the high ticket community a lot where people will get a refund request and they just get pissed and they come up with these excuses like, oh, well, I don't know. They just don't want to do the work. Like they're just not blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, like your course probably isn't good enough or you didn't attract the right people or you didn't sell it in the right way. Like
That's
refunds,
that's the main
they
thing.
mean something.
That
Sorry.
that's usually that's usually the thing. I will say it's probably less about the course, and it's like people are so like they have this scarcity mindset of like I have to sell to Molly today right now, and if I don't get her to sell right now through the DM, like she's never gonna join. And then it's like let's get on a call, get on a call, get on a call, and then on the call they're like, well, why do you need to talk to your husband? Why do you got to do this? Why do you got to do that? Just join, blah, 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 blah. And then like then they get you to join, and then you see the program, and you're like, oh, I didn't really want to be here. And then like they're really not helping you. They're really not like
And
providing a
you know
thing.
this firsthand, D, like, if you do this right, and I'm talking about high ticket sales here, if you do it right, they should be selling you
Yeah,
on
why they
them
want.
wanting to join your program. And I've done this myself with a mastermind with Russell Brunson. I just want to use it as an example because he did such a good pitch. He was like, "Oh, it's closed. Nobody can join." Like, and I don't know that that was necessarily true. Um, because, and then so I actually found his salesperson's phone number and called them like every single day until they let me join.
That's
Like,
the
can
only
you
cool
imagine?
call I've ever done.
Can you imagine being a salesperson and being like, "Oh my God, this girl like won't stop calling to give me money." Like that is how to do it the right way, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, not only have we not had like refunds, like we had chargebacks like when I first started, but that was like 2 years ago, and I think we only had like two. And again, it was that same basically thing of like letting them join when we really shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But not only that, but like we've had someone recently that was like they basically changed their whole mind. They were like, this guy was like, instead of being like a coach, like I just want to go like fly airplanes. Like I don't even want to be a coach anymore.
That does
But
happen because when you're selling a new opportunity, sometimes the people that buy new opportunities always like new opportunities. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
And so not only did he is he not like really pursuing that, but like bro still makes it like is making like the payment plan that he has like still pays, even though he doesn't come in. You know what I mean? And I think that's just like because we did a really good job of telling people. I tell people now on the call, like, bro, I'm not trying to be rude. Like when you're doing this, like, because sometimes people on a call will be like, I know you want to get the sale, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, I really don't care if you join because I can go get another. I can like, there's other people out there that have the problem that you have, and I'll go solve their problems. But I don't think there's a lot of people that have the solution, right? Like I only want to help you if it's a good fit.
Mhm,
And then if it's a good fit, like this is what we're gonna do, right? It's like
mhm.
there's no refunds, this is how much it's
Yeah,
gonna
you
be.
just took control
Process.
of that callback. That's good.
Yeah, and I'm like, bro, like and I'm like, I'm also not gonna tell you no though. I'm not just like all right, I don't want to work with you, you're not serious, kick rocks. I'm like, bro, we have the Facebook group. So you can ask questions in there. There's YouTube, there's Instagram, but
Mhm,
I'm looking for a specific type of person. And I heard someone say, like, I'm not looking for clients, I'm looking for testimonials, essentially. Like, I want to help, I want to only work with people that I can guarantee they're going to
mhm,
get a ton of results. And I think for us, that was hard because like there's times where like you need money or you feel like you need money and you're like, let's sign up this person. And that always ends up bad. Whether they do a
yeah,
refund or not, like it ends up being a bad client, they're a headache. And so now we just tell people like, yo, this is the type of person that we're looking for. And if it's not a good fit, like my wife is like, you have to tell them no. Like we know like how this is gonna end. Like only
mhm,
sign someone up if you're 100% or 90% sure that if they do the work that we will get them the results that they're looking for. And like that has made such a big difference. Like the people that we have in our program now, it's like we're like best friends. Like anytime they have a win, they call us. If
oh,
they're
that's
going
cool.
on a trip, they call us. Like if they're getting married or anything is happening. And I think it just took us like changing our mindset of like we have like, oh, we have to make a sale today to
You
okay,
also have a
everything.
really good offer. Like I notice, I don't know, this is just my another opinion I have about high ticket sales, but I notice there's a lot of people out there that just have a course that's maybe a 997 course, right? But instead they're like, "Well, I want to make a lot of money, so I'm going to charge 10 grand." But they're not actually justifying it. So like for
Yeah.
you, like you're doing some done for you stuff in your offer, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, for
Which
so
is great.
what
Like I think high ticket people should be doing that, you know, because then you're just going to have happier clients when you're like really going above and beyond and fulfilling on, I don't know what the price of your thing is, but like fulfilling on whatever how much money they paid for it, you know.
Yeah, I think like what over the past like couple months, I was thinking about this idea of before I got into coaching, I was into music, rap music, producing, and I was also into like fashion. I had like my own
Oh,
clothing.
that's how you know so much about music. I didn't know that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, so like being around those people, like you hear a lot of artists that are really good that turn down deals all the time. Like they're broke, and this record label is like, "Yo, we'll give you $4 million." They turn it down because they know like what they're worth, right? But they're really focused on creating a really good product, right? You
Yeah.
can't like to compete with Louis Vuitton and Versace and all these things. Either one, you have to be really, really good at creating like a buzz, or you have to be good at creating a really good product. But typically both, because if you create a good buzz and the product sucks, then people are gonna know. And I think that's what I said. I was like, if I was like a architect or interior designer, what's the best way to get like clients and make a lot of money? Like be the freaking best interior decorator in my city or architect, like build the biggest house or the nicest houses, and like people are gonna find you, and the people that have the money are gonna pay. The issue, like you said, I think is like people want to be that, they want to make a lot of money, but they make $100 program and then they're just like, oh, it's a mindset. Like everyone has money. Let me charge 10K. And it's like someone the other day asked me on a call, they're like, like I really see the value. It is a little bit more than what I thought it was going to be. How did you come up with the price point? And
Wow,
I told
that's a great question to ask. I like that.
him, and this was my response. I said, well, honestly, I was a little bit uncomfortable to charge what I feel like it's worth. So I just charged a little bit less.
Yeah.
And they started laughing. They're like, oh, dang,
I
okay.
always
Like,
charge I always charge based on what result, like, I know I could get someone in a certain time frame. You know what I mean? So, like, if I like, so for example, let's say if I have a offer that's gonna help somebody get like X amount of clients in X days or whatever, then I can say, on the call, hey, or however you're selling it. Like I said, I don't do high ticket sales anymore, but in my webinar or whatever, then I can say like, well, if you think this is going to help you get 2 more clients, then it's going to be worth it because you're going to make this much and the program's only half that cost or whatever. Like I just really price it and frame it in like a no-brainer way. That's like,
right,
even if you get this result and it's like the lowest result we've gotten and you make mistakes and you only get this result, it's still going to be, you're still going to pay off the price of the program. Because you want your offer to be so good that it almost annoys you at how good it is, because then it'll be a no-brainer for other people. So, yeah.
I agree. And like that's why we slowed down. Like we were like doing high ticket. So right now, the investment for our program is like 7K. And we're like, let us only accept like 4 people, right? Like I was hearing so much about like scaling and getting to like 100K months. And like even if like you said you did like 2 million, even like 1 million is like 83,000 a month or something like that, right? So it's like a lot of money. But I was like,
$80,333. Yeah.
and 33 cents, yeah. So I was just thinking like, all right, let's slow down and I want to like, I see a lot of people that are like, I made 100 grand this month, but I'm like, bro, I see the same 3 testimonials. Like if your product is 5 grand and you're making 83 or let's say 100,000, like that's like what, 200 people that you're enrolling like every month or something like that. So it's like, what happened to these people? And like, that's what I feel like people are just signing people up. I know people that didn't come in my DMs like, oh, I paid for this thing.
Yeah,
And I
if you're scaling, it needs to match like how many people you're enrolling. And obviously, like, I don't know anyone who's like getting every single person, a result. Like those people, a lot of times people will join a program and they don't log in or they don't take initiative, right? But you should be getting the majority of the people that are taking action results. And it needs to match, because like I think kind of where you're going with this is like, if you scale a program and you're not also scaling results, people are going to get angry and talk crap about your program.
Right. Well, the way I was going with that is like, I think the best way to scale a program is by the results. Like,
Oh,
if
absolutely.
you have a program like it, like you take the time to maybe work with less people, and you're getting like 90, 100% success rate, and they all love it. Like, then they're gonna have word of mouth, but then you can start to scale it, and you're like, okay, all of this works. But I think people just like they have like a rough draft, and then they're just like, oh, let me just sell it for like 10K, and it's really, really not that good. And I was like, I don't
Mhm,
want it to be like that. I want ours to be like, this is like the freaking best thing on the market for the problem that we're solving.
mhm.
And that makes people think like, wow, this is, I can't believe that it's this cheap to get in.
Right. I know, what a wild concept to actually have, like, a good program, right?
Right,
No,
right.
seriously, like, it's insane though because I totally agree, like, and I don't, it's not like I, like, hate high ticket altogether, like, I know people that have high ticket offers that are doing amazing things, and they're changing people's lives, and it's worth that price, and they almost have to charge that price to get people to really do the work, like, I just signed up for a $6,000 high ticket YouTube program, and they didn't even have to have a sales call with me because the person that I signed up with, he has all this content that I consumed for free, and I was like, "I'm
Yeah,
ready to
yeah,
purchase." But the thing is, I've also taken a lot of high ticket programs where it's probably like $100 course and they just
yeah.
decide to charge $10,000 for it. And everyone is pissed and everyone's talking crap about the program. Like you have to actually match your program with the price. Like your program has to actually be good. And I just want to use like Alex Hermosi as an example because I know everyone right now like knows about his high ticket success and all of that. And so people think, well, I want to have a high ticket. I want to charge $16,000 a person like Alex Hermosi did. Well, guess what? They had a team of people doing like the results, getting the results and doing the work for these people. This wasn't just like a course that they decided
Right,
to
right,
charge
right, right.
$16,000. This was an
Right.
offer that had done for you components in it. Like that, I mean, I was in a mastermind once where they were like, Molly, you got to do a high ticket program, you got to do a high ticket program, which it did make sense at the time for the program that we were doing, right? And I was like, well, I don't know what to charge for it. And they were like, oh, well, you should charge 6,000. And then some guys like, if they'll pay 6,000, they'll pay 10,000. And some guys like, if they'll pay 10,000, they'll pay 20,000. And I'm just like, what the hell is going on here? By the way, I started out my program charging
Uh,
$2,997 because that was, first of all, way worth it because we were helping them book $3,000 clients a pop, but also because that was the PayPal credit limit at the time. So I knew that if people wanted to join with PayPal credit, that because PayPal credit gave you 6 months to pay it back
yeah,
interest free. And
that's
so
how
we were
I
like, oh,
joined
well, we'll help you
GDP
get
at first.
this much money within these 6 months. And like it was a no-brainer offer. So it took off. But if we would have charged more, because we tested it. We tested charging. We started with 3,000. Then we tried like 6,000. Then we tried 10,000 because everyone's like, well, if they'll pay 6, they'll pay 10. Blah blah blah. That is not true. Like we did the data on that, and when we went from 6 to 10, our sales significantly dropped off. Like you need to find the sweet spot for your client, for your offer. That kind of mentality just really makes me mad. Like your job shouldn't be out there to just take as much money from people
I
as
think
possible. Like your
actually
job should be to get people results.
I agree and I also disagree. I think like if they pay 10, they will pay 20 if you DM the hell out of everybody that you know and you're good at just convincing people to buy. They don't add that part in, right? Yeah. If you DM like 300 people every day and then you just pressure them on the call, like, yeah, you're going to
Well,
get
yeah,
some people
is
to
it
buy.
possible that they'll pay that? Yes, but are you gonna have happy clients? Are you gonna have good results? Are you gonna have
No.
the right clients? Like, exactly. So, I just wish I love that you're doing this podcast because, like, I wish more people would talk. I just maybe I'm disconnected from the high ticket industry, but, like, every program that I've paid $50,000 a year for 3 different high ticket programs back in the day, and none of them were talking about how good your course should be. They were only talking about charge more, get more sales, like,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
the way I looked at it was like, imagine if you're like an artist, right? And you're like, Drake charges $500,000 to play. I'm gonna charge that. It's like, bro, because his songs are good. Like you have to make good
Taylor
songs.
Swift is charging $1,300 a ticket, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna charge $1,300.
that's how it is. And it's like, okay, well, if I play your music, maybe it doesn't have to be as good, but it needs to be close to that. And that's what people are doing is like, oh, Alex Hormozy, Dan Henry, Molly, blah blah. But then it's like, okay, well, let me see the product though. And no one's talking about product. It just became like I think we were talking about this last time. It's like a client acquisition, like jerk off session, basically. It's like that's all it is about. That's all people talk about. Is like, I
Don't
got
give
this.
away my hand gesture secrets. Um, from our last conversation. I'll just leave everyone to think about that. Um, you know what? I really like where we're going with this conversation because I want to share with you guys because a lot of you listening to this might be thinking, well, if I start my course, I might not have the money at first to make like a 10 out of 10 course, right? So when with the course I have now, Profitable Courses, the first draft of our program was just me pre-selling people in and then teaching it live and recording those sessions and then putting them into a hosting software. But once we got to like, I don't know, I think it was like 1 or 200 students, then we made sure to save money aside to redo the program at a really, really high quality. I spent 6 months writing all my frameworks and scripts and everything at a coffee shop. Like that tea house, they are like, Molly, did you die? Like, where are you? Because I literally was there every day for like 6 months. And then we paid a studio to go in and record these videos high quality with captions. And we have, homework. And, like the course is really, really high quality. And the way that I think about it is like, obviously the content needs to be high quality as well. And I made sure that all the videos were like 5 minutes or less. They're edited like YouTube style to really hold people's attention. Because like if your videos are nothing bores me more when I join a course and the videos are like 2 hours long each.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, how am I ever gonna get through this? Like seriously. But yeah, like your very first draft of your course, it's probably, I mean, I can almost guarantee you it's not gonna be that good.
No.
But the content should, as long as you know what you're teaching and you've gotten results for at least yourself, like I'm sure the content itself is good. And then you can make better drafts as you go. Like almost every year we've made a new version of our course and we've revamped it because it is that important. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyways.
No, I agree. And I think like what I would add to that is like quality to me for a course or a coaching program is the outcome. And I see a lot of people
Mhm.
that are like, they have these 4K edited videos, but then I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
That's
you never
true.
even told me get to the result. So
Yeah.
like in the beginning, what we had, it was kind of like what Dan suggests, where it's like I do the slides and it's like, here's what's covered, here's why we're gonna do this, blah, blah, blah. But then some of the videos would end up, they weren't long, but it would maybe be like 20 minutes. And I was just rewatching them. I'm like, it's okay. Like they're getting the information.
Mhm.
However, how do I teach best? I think everyone has to know like how they teach best. And I'm like, I can really explain things well and really quickly. And so I literally just like got my phone, recorded them, or I would do like a screen share. Like if I'm like, here's how to set up Trello to manage your VCA or whatever, I would literally be like, I would just pull up Trello, get on Loom and be like, hey, here's what we're doing. Make like a 5 minute video. And like people have been getting like way better, like not way better results, but it's like a lot quicker for them to go through it because I'm
Yeah.
just like, here's exactly what to do. And then in the beginning, our course was pretty much like, here's how to do it. So it's like, here's how to find a VCA, here's the scripts to use, or basically like,
What's a
here's how
VCA?
to,
Virtual content assistant?
yeah, yeah. So something I just came up with, right? So basically, it was like, here's how to go on Upwork. Here's how to create your account. Here's how to do the job post. Here's how to like interview them. Here's how to set up your account. Like all, everything they needed to know how to do. And then at that point, I think at first I was selling it for 1,000, and then it was like two, then it was like three, and a lot of people that like were the perfect fit were like, I want to like, I don't want to have to do this myself. Like I want to be able to like someone finds that person, trains that person, and maybe I have like you would just help me put the systems into place. And then if you could help me get even better at creating the content, that would be good. So it was like taking that feedback, and now we do all that part for them. Like they buy, we set up another call. On that call, we ask them a whole bunch of questions about like what it is that they're looking for, the type of content they want to create, how often, what platforms, all that type of stuff. And then we go and we do all the interviews. Like we set up the job post, we do all the interviews,
Mhm.
and we just present them with the best person. And that allowed us to go from 3,000 to 7 now. But like you said, like
See, like
it's
you're
not just
matching
like,
your price to your offer. Like, good job.
yeah, it's not like just like let's go to 7. Like a lot of people were saying, like just charge more. Like if they'll play 3, they'll play 7. I was like, I really
Like,
want to have
yeah,
the
they
best
might
person.
pay it, but they're not gonna be happy about it. It's
Exactly. So
not good
I
for your
think like that's what I've been like obsessed with. And I even slowed down and I was like, what do we need to like really be happy? Like I see a lot of people that I know, even if they are doing 100K months, like they're
Wait,
super
you're asking yourself what you need to be happy? Wild.
wild. Wow.
I love it, I love it.
We need to have like a commercial that's like that. That's like creating a great program. Wow.
Wow. That could be, yeah, that could be a funny, funny Facebook ad.
So like, Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like a lot of people, even like I'm not gonna say names, but people that people look up to, it's like they were just not happy, super stressed out.
Mhm.
And I'm like, we're like, it's like trying to run a marathon and you're just sprinting the whole time, and you're just
Oh,
like
I've
throwing
literally
up and like dehydrated. It's like, bro, you can just run at a good pace and still finish this thing,
dude,
right?
you're like describing me. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I got to a point in my career where like there was a point where I was just living in little old Wisconsin, bringing in like 600K a year with 85% profit margins. But no, I was like, ego. I need to move somewhere cool and grow my revenue and worry about awards. Like, and
Yeah.
then the next thing I know, like, yes, I'm making $2 million a year, but I was actually extremely unhappy. And I think this is important that more people should talk about stuff like this because, like, when you set your goals for the year, or you make your vision board, like, you need to think about yourself. Like you said, what makes you happy? What are the goals that you want? Not just 10,000 YouTube subscribers, 1 million, like a 2Com Club award. Like, those are all really surface level, like, and I mean, I did this, so like I'm literally making fun of myself here, but it's not going to make you happy. Like, if you think reaching $1 million is going to all of a sudden make you happy, it is absolutely not going to do that.
Right.
In fact, when you scale your business, whatever problems you have, you're just scaling more problems. So like you need to make sure that you build a really solid foundation before you scale. And like ultimately that's one of the reasons that I wanted to, I mean, I've been wanting to start profitable courses business for a really long time, but I was like, man, after, I don't know, 16 years or whatever, I'm like, my friend likes to call it that I got my MBA by actually doing business. And I'm like, okay, now that I have all this knowledge, I can really think about how do I want to do it and not just take a program and follow everything they're saying, but maybe take a program and take some things away. But no, some of those things aren't for me, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But before it's like I didn't have any of that knowledge. So I would just take a program and be like, okay, I need to do everything they're saying because like I don't know anything else. So
Yeah, I think like excuse me. That's why I really like to compare stuff to like art in music because if you look at like a lot of our man, excuse me. Goodness.
take a break, time out.
Time
Yeah,
out,
I've been
people.
over here just like muting every single cough. Like,
I need to. Man, somebody that's listening to this has some remedy. DM me. Cold DM me, baby.
are you editing this out? Because either way, it's funny.
I don't know. We'll see.
That's funny.
So like if you think of like the most like popular artists, right, that we can name, they're not just like throwing together an album and then trying to scale and sell a whole bunch of copies. Like they might take a year, 2 years, but like while they're doing that, yeah, they're making money maybe off tours and all that other stuff. But let's say when they're a new artist, you got to be willing to not make a lot of money while you're making that product really, really good in order to make a lot of money on the back end. So that's what I said. I said, you know what? What do we need right now to be happy, right? We don't need 3 cars. We don't need a mansion. We don't need to go to freaking brunch like every day and eat lobster every day and like do
Be like
all these
5 days
things.
a week.
Like we just don't. So I'm like, people forget, like, bro, you're making 5K, 10K a month. Like that's a big deal. Like you're not having to go to work somewhere, like you're working for yourself. Like that's a really big accomplishment, right? That doesn't mean that you just like stop there, but like that's a big accomplishment. And especially if you're just only by yourself and you're just like a single person taking care of yourself and you're helping yourself make 5 to 10K that you can actually bring home after all of that. So then we're like, okay, we have what we need, basic needs to be happy. How can we make our program as good as possible? That way, yeah, we're not making a lot of money this month, next month, blah, blah, blah. But 6 months after we have all these testimonials, we have a really good program. Like it's going to be a no brainer. We know the
Mhm.
messaging, we know the pain points, we have the
And you're
Facebook
working on
ads.
your organic traffic, which is gonna keep growing. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but like you said, I never see anybody like they might mention it like once, but no one's talking about like why don't we just make like really good programs that actually solve the person's like pain point?
Yeah, it's wild. I feel like when I got started in online business in 2014, um, a lot of the big players back then were more like I never heard the term like high ticket back then. A lot of the big players back then, they were talking about making good courses, and not every course back then was good. Trust me, I've I took some courses back then that I'm like probably some of the worst courses I've ever taken because like it was more new, you know. So, anyways, I forgot where I was going with this.
So before your first course, I know what it was, but just like so people that listen to this, what was like the first course that you did? Like what was it on?
Yeah, so I helped photographers book more clients essentially, like help them with marketing and just booking more clients and making more money per client.
And before doing that, you're a photographer.
Yeah, I had my own studio. I was a professional photographer for I know I'm using the number 16 a lot, but really that I mean, I pretty much just stopped doing professional photography like a couple years ago. So, yeah.
Like mastering a skill before you teach it to others. Wow.
I just came out well, it's actually not out yet. Maybe at the time this airs, but I just came out with a YouTube video about how to become a millionaire, and I know it's like cringe, such a cringe title, but like
It's out right now?
no, it will be out soon. Like, so
Okay.
maybe when this goes live, I'm not sure, but my YouTube channel is just my name, by the way. But the video, it's all about the frame because I really had to sit and think like, what is the framework that actually made me a net worth millionaire? Like, what were the things that I did? And the first thing is like finding a passion, like trying lots of things, finding something you're passionate about. Like, so for me, that was photography. Then turning that into like a done for you or a service. And I've seen this happen with a lot of my friends with like ads agencies too. I just find like the easier businesses to start are usually service based or done for you because it's sell because you're just saying like I'm exchanging my money for something you're going to do for me essentially, right? Then after you do that, then you can start to teach people what you've learned. It doesn't need to be making money, but that's sort of like I feel like that's sort of like the new I don't know, online marketer ladder, if you will. But a lot of people kind of skip that step where they don't actually master a skill and they just want to have a course. And you don't have to be a photographer for 16 years, like, but you do need to, have something that you're passionate about and that you have gotten a result for at least yourself so that you can replicate that into some kind of framework to help other people get results.
Yeah, I had this guy that was like, he wanted me to help him. And I'm like, what is it that you're doing? He's like, well, like, I'm not getting any clients with like my video content. I want to like have help like creating the content and then eventually have someone that I can outsource and delegate the editing to. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what's the business? And he's like, I teach people how to make, I'm gonna kind of, I don't know the numbers, but it's kind of like how
Mhm.
to make six figures doing
Yeah.
like affiliate marketing. And then I'm like, oh, cool. So like, how has it been for you, like with affiliate marketing? He's like, oh, I haven't like made any money with it yet. But like all the posts are like, here's what to do. Here's how to do this. And I'm like, bro, why don't you just make some money with affiliate marketing, figure out what to do, and then go sell? But like I think people join these programs and this person is like, go do this thing. And then they just like go tell people and like they're like literally yelling at people like, if you want to build a six-figure course, you got to do this. But it's like you've never done it. You're just taking this person's
Yeah.
advice and reselling it. It's so weird.
And I truly believe every single person does have a good course idea inside of them currently, but you really need to take the time to like think about what it is that you do have a skill at. And maybe you're 18 years old and you don't have that skill yet, and that's okay. Like, because back, well, actually, I don't know, back when before I was like a photographer, I actually thought of all the courses I could have done just to kind of think of like even before I had that big skill, like could I have done a course? And it's like, I could have done a course on how to get babysitting clients because like that was something that I was actually really, really good at. Or like teaching, like for example, I like to paint, but I'm not that great of a painter. Like there's no way I would have got a scholarship to art school for painting, right? But am I better than somebody who's like a 100% beginner painter? Can I teach them how to paint a flower or how to paint something? Yeah, absolutely. So you definitely, though, you need to know at least 10% more than the person that you're teaching. So
Yeah.
like this person that we're using as an example, um, they really just need to think more about what's a skill that they have that they know like 10% more that they can teach other people. And I think a lot of times we see somebody being like, oh, they're teaching courses and they're making millions of dollars. So if I teach courses, I'll make millions of dollars. But that's not true. I mean, like you have to actually just think of what is the skill that you can help people get a result with.
Yeah, the
So,
thing I realized is like I used to think like to have a successful course, it has to take someone from like A to Z, but
mhm,
really it just A to B. It's like, what is the B? Like, is that if that's a strong pain point? So, and then it's like the audience. So it's like, yeah, if you're 18 years old and you're like, oh, I don't really know how to use a lot of skills, like you know how to use a phone, like you know how to use TikTok, you know how to text, you know your way around the iPhone. Like there's a lot of people that are 60 that have grandkids that just don't freaking know how to use their phone that wish they could. Now, are they
mhm.
going to pay you 10 grand for it? Maybe not. But like again, I think if you could maybe start a $200 course or 300 or 500,
Yeah.
learn some skills, get some money, and then like build on that.
Well, and also let's talk about like you can make millions of dollars with a low ticket product. Like, I think
Wow.
I
No,
know like there's nothing, I'm not going to sit here and say like high ticket isn't relevant because it is relevant like I've shared earlier, like if you have a good enough offer to charge for that, that's great, but you don't have to have a high ticket offer to make millions of dollars. Um, you know, I had an ebook that we mostly sold for I think it was 49 or $59 and we did $500,000 in ebook sales with zero ad spend with this ebook. Like, and it was only 13 pages long. Like, and all the reason people, well, so first of all, the content was good. Like, I taught them how to actually get clients in this ebook using just one of my strategies. So it wasn't competing with my course because it was just one of the strategies from the course. But the whole ebook, I think a lot of people take the word book too seriously. Like it wasn't like a book that you read. It was just 13 pages of this is the concept, this is what you do, here's the scripts, here's where you post them, like step by step, here's what you do. And a lot of people ask me, well, if you didn't run ads, how'd you get traffic to it? Well, the ebook was so good and got people such good results that it literally took over the entire industry. Like people still to this day, I closed my photo education business over 2 years ago. Let's see, almost 3 years ago. People still message me like almost angry, like, where can I buy this? And I actually sold the IP to somebody else so they can buy it from this other person now. Um, like it's been stolen online so many times. Like, you have a good product when like it's been stolen online. Like, it's everywhere. Like you could probably go in like any photography Facebook forum that talks about getting clients, search model call. Like it was just, I didn't even have to advertise it. It was huge. And then when we did have a high ticket program, eventually that lower ticket product really helped us get a lot of sales because people were like, oh, she got me a result with this $59 thing. I'm sure she can get me way more results with this higher thing. So I love low ticket products. I think people need to talk about that more.
yeah, I think like really what I'm learning is like slow down a little bit and really make like a good product. That doesn't mean make it perfect on the first time and obsess about making it
Yeah.
perfect. But like what's the pain point you're trying to solve with this ebook? Okay, the first version doesn't have to be the best colorful and all the like how it
Oh
looks,
my
but
god.
it's like,
Yeah, the first
can
we did like 5 versions of that ebook. The first version was hideous.
yeah, it's like people really it's like I would be more pleased of getting a book that's just literally like a Word document, but I follow it and I get the results versus something that looks beautiful. And I'm like, bro, like I'm just gonna throw this
Yeah.
away. I didn't get
Yeah,
anything.
I always tell my students, I say, if I tell you that I'm gonna have a course that makes you an extra $10,000, let's say, would you rather learn how to make that extra $10,000 in like 5 hours or 50 hours in a course? Obviously, every person's gonna pick like 5 hours. If 5 minutes was an option, they would pick 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Like, who wouldn't pick that? So, like, adding more modules or more pages or whatever to the product that you're creating doesn't actually add more value. It actually takes it away. Like, people want to get a result fast, easy.
yeah. A good example of that is like a root canal. Is like if they tell you like this is how much a root canal is gonna be, and it's like, oh, I'm paying that much. It's only gonna take like 20 minutes. It's like, okay, well, we could take 2 hours if you want to. And it's like, oh no. You know what I mean?
I love that. That's yeah,
Like
we can take 2 hours and just really
Yeah, we won't
Give
even
you lots
sterilize,
of
we
pain.
won't even numb you up or nothing. We'll just take 4 hours and just drill. Like, it's like they're solving the pain point and as quick as possible. So,
Yeah.
that's what I mean, like, it's not about how good the modules look and how long it is. That's like icing on the cake, but it's like, how good is it?
That's a
And I
great thing to say on a sales call if they're like, I don't really get asked this question anymore ever, but like back in the day when courses were kind of newer, people would be like, "Well, how many hours of materials are there?" You know? Um, and if you're like, "Oh, there's 3 hours," and they're like, "That's it?" And be like, "Well, I can get you the same result in 30 hours of materials if you want."
Yeah,
Like, I love
exactly.
that. That's great.
Yeah, I don't get that's what I think. I think when you have, like, a really good result, like, people aren't asking these little questions. I think that's when, like, they're not sure of, like, what you do. But if it's like, I'm gonna help you make $1,000,000 and you've seen me do that with, like, 100 other people, 1,000 other people, bro, you don't really care about like how many modules. You're just like, bro, give me the information. Like, I just want to get the ebook. I want to get the course. And I think like that's what you've done like a really good job of. And like that's what I'm striving to do to where it's like artists. It's like the way that a lot of us know artists is not because they ran ad. Well, it could be because of the radio, but a lot of the times it's like friends are telling us this is a good restaurant, this is a good movie, this is a good artist. Then we go check it out. And then if we like what the product that they have, whether that's art, music, whatever it is, like then we keep consuming it, right? They're not just like, oh, let me like beg you to listen to this, or I got to get on a sales call and do this. I think having a
Mhm.
really good product is the top way. And I love that Alex Ramosi actually does talk about that though. He's like,
Oh,
it has
absolutely. Like, I don't know, like, word for word or whatever, but he says something along the lines of, like, I don't know. I'm paraphrasing because I've heard a lot of people talk about this, but something along the lines of like, you know, your product is finally good, like when you do have word of mouth marketing.
yeah.
Um, yeah. And I also wanted to say, speaking of the music industry, there's this girl, her name's Christine Morel, and she created an ebook that, as far as I understand, if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments, but as far as I understand, it's just an ebook that lists out all these different places that they could like try to book music gigs at. So it's like a list of like gigs that you could reach out to, right? Which what problem does that solve? Solves the problem of getting gigs, solves the problem of like you having to waste time to like search for all like that's an amazing offer, right? And I don't remember the price, but I think it was like $50 or something. Like it wasn't expensive. So again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, she made millions of dollars from this book, this ebook. So again, like you're just taking the problem and you're like, hey, I'll give you the solution to this problem, help you save time and money and effort, and make this easier and faster for you, you know, for $50 or whatever. So
Yeah, you got me thinking about possibly doing an ebook on like how like so like because I've done
I do have, you should go watch it. My newest YouTube video is all about start to finish ebooks.
all right, I'm adding it to watch later right now because I did do I did an ebook before and it like it did decent. Like it made like a couple of $1,000 in like a I don't know if it was a month. It was like less than a month. But I think now that I kind of know the pain points better in the audience, like
Mhm.
one thing I could possibly do is so the people that can't afford for us to do all of it for them, they still need to get rid of like the video editing, right? They still want to get an editor, but a lot of people don't know where to find people. Even if you go on Upwork, it's really hard. You got to know what to say in the
Yeah.
job post. You got to know the filters. You got to know all that. But
I just went on a site to hire another video editor and I had to go through hundreds of applications to find like
oh yeah.
2 people. Yeah.
So it's like if we could literally give them all the SOPs that we have for that in an ebook, and it's like literally here's what to post, here's what to say, here's how to do all that stuff, which
Mhm.
doesn't compete with our actual like high ticket offer.
Yeah.
And then some of those people might be like, all right, I would rather you just do this because like you still need to train this person, you still got to
Yeah.
like put all this other systems in place, and you
And
still might need the community need and all that other stuff.
one thing you can do too that I just realized I didn't put in my YouTube video, shame on me, but at the end of your ebook, you can have like a few pages or just one page that sells them on the next thing. So
Oh yeah, sure.
in my ebook model call, like the last page was like links to our other courses and stuff. So that way they know like what's the next thing or the next ladder or whatever. But also I listened to this podcast with Pat Flynn and Amy Porterfield. It's on his show. And like I don't normally shout out like other people's podcasts on a podcast, but like this show was like really good. Like I'm sorry, like I have to share it. But Amy basically breaks down this launch that she did and she talks about this data point that they found. They found that when people download, I think it was 2 or more either freebies or like low price ebooks or whatever, they were like, I don't know the exact stat, but like, I don't know, 80% more likely to purchase her course. And so I found, I mean, you'd have to go listen to the episode to get like the exact data points. I don't remember them offhand, but it was like
Who?
mind blowing to me.
Amy and who?
Amy Porterfield,
And who? And who?
and Pat Flynn, and it was on his podcast. Pat Flynn's podcast is awesome. I listened to it a lot. And yeah, she basically broke down her whole launch, all the stats, everything. And then she basically was like, oh, one of our top takeaways was that we noticed that actually, it was like the majority of the people that purchased her course, they noticed had like 2 or more either freebies or low price ebooks or whatever. And so she's like, now our goal is to get people to download like 1 or 2 or
Yeah.
more of these things, because now we know that they're way more likely to go on and buy our course. And like, that was mind blowing to me. And also it was like a dumb moment, because with my last business, like that's exactly what we did. We had a blog, we gave out tons of freebies, then people would buy the ebook, then they would buy the next thing. Like it really made a lot of sense to me. And I don't know. Yeah, it was pretty good.
You have an ebook that you're doing now?
I have several ebooks. So if you go to profitablecourses.com, which by the way,
before you go into this, like,
yeah.
So if you have several, like, how are people finding like all these links? They have to hear you talk about it in a podcast or on your content, or are you posting on your story? Like, how are they even finding out
Sure.
about it?
So I can explain the whole thing. Like, we've been working on this for the last like 6 months, really shifting. So like I said, from October to June, we were doing a webinar every single week with ads. And then first of all, I got really burnt out doing these webinars every week. We had it converting really well, and the ad costs just kept skyrocketing. They're back. The ad costs are back down now. But so there was a lot of things that led us to be like, let's be done with this. So we spent the last, I don't know, 6 or however long months that's been, automating our webinar, which has been incredible. Like, we now have like so much money that we're making every single month from just this webinar, from organic traffic only, blah, 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 blah. So, but now we've been working on, we're redoing our website. So our website right now, it's profitablecourses.com, but if you go to it and it redirects you to Freedom Creator, that is still us. We're rebranding to Freedom Creator. But basically on our website is one of the ways that you can find our ebooks. So you'll look at the homepage, it talks about my story, and then it has like 3 different freebies that you can choose from. So I think one is about building your email list, one is about TikTok, and one is about ebooks. So we just thought about what are the things people need to be ready to be an ideal client for our course. And those were some of the things that they needed. And that was an aha moment I had recently in the YouTube program that I'm in. I had a one-on-one call that I paid extra for with the president of the company. And he was like, you know, your YouTube channel, it talks all about courses. And I was like, yeah, it does. And he's like, he's like, but
Yeah, it does.
yeah, he's like, but isn't that what your course is about? I was like, yeah, it is. And he's like, well, you need to actually make your content one step before that. He's like, you need to actually use your YouTube channel and your different content to make people the ideal client for your course, not make the content for that. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it made sense to me. Like, you're basically putting out broader content that will turn these people into the ideal client for your course, which is helping them be prepared. We're not like, I guess that sounded kind of like manipulative. Like, we're giving people the help they need to get them to where they need to be to even be more successful, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we link to our freebies on our website. And then on YouTube is a big one where, let's say, so I have like different content buckets. Let's say I have a video about, I think I have one coming out soon about being a guest on podcasts, actually. And so I actually asked my husband, I was like, do you think we could just take my pitch template and put it behind a freebie wall? Because I'm like, you know, when I share all this content on my YouTube video, people are going to want that pitch template so they can use it as a template, you know? And he's like, yeah, that'll take me like 2 seconds. So we've actually been also playing with, we have like these 3 set freebies that are linked in every description, but we've also been playing with, if there's a freebie that we already have that we can just put behind a name and email wall, that's like directly goes along with the content of the YouTube video, we'll do that as well. And that's something I've seen people do with their podcast is like make a new freebie for every episode, which is, I know, a lot of work. Like, but if people are watching your episode and you're
But
like, oh,
that's like a ton of value though. I think like people
exactly.
people are like, that takes a ton of work, but I'm like, it's gonna be a lot of work either way. Like, okay, Molly's gonna come up with the YouTube video, come up with the freebie, create the freebie,
Well, the cool
add
thing is I don't even have
automation.
to create the
They
freebie because like I already have a pitch template, so all we're doing is just putting it behind the wall.
let's say somebody that doesn't, right? And they say,
Okay,
"Oh, I
okay.
can do all this work," right? So you do the work. Yeah, it's going to take you a lot of work, like up front. However, if you don't do that, you got to DM like 100 people every single day. Like you're going to spend the time anyway, either way. And I think, like you were saying, like the person that you just cold DM all these people are typically not the best clients. Yeah, over time they can be, but the people that
Mhm,
watch a YouTube video, download a guide or a freebie,
mhm,
use that, watch another one and get it. Like they're coming to you like for help. And like typically like those people don't even have any questions. They're like, I watched your YouTube video. I love your stuff. I downloaded this helped me, blah, blah, blah. Like now I just want to like really join your program. And like they already have proven that they like are action takers. So I don't know. I really like that strategy. I think it's just like, again, creating a good program, but then like create all the other stuff good too. Like if you're going to
yeah.
create a YouTube video, make it valuable, but then go the extra mile and have like a checklist or a template or whatever it is that you do. Do the same thing on Instagram. And I think like that is like a slower grind, but like over time, you like Gary Vee, it's like you have an audience that is just like they're gonna buy like whatever it is that you put out. They go to your
Mhm.
events, they go to masterminds, they buy your ebooks, like all these different types of things. And I think the fact that people aren't willing to do that for the people that are, it's like you're gonna stand out like so much more.
Yeah, like back in 2014 when I first started my online education business, everyone was talking about how like the money's in your list. Email list is important. Like email list, email list, email list. I don't know if it was just like the programs I joined over time or the people I hung out with or whatever, but like over time wasn't really hearing a lot of people talking about email lists. Um and I was actually at Funnel Hacking Live conference, and Russell on stage, he said, I noticed that the number of people on your email list typically correlates to how much revenue you're making per month. So if you have like 10,000 people on your email list, he's like, my best guess is you're probably making $10,000 per
Like
month
a
on
dollar
average.
person, basically, right?
What was that?
It's like typically like a dollar person or so.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like it depends what you sell, depends how good you are, it depends on a lot of things. But I was like, wow, like he's like that. That's accurate, and like I remember people talking about that a lot back in the day, and it just sort of reinvigorated my sort of passion for email marketing, which is all. I mean, day one of my business, I'm always like building my email list. Every ad builds an email subscriber, blah blah blah. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I think more people need to start talking about that again. Maybe it's so important. And when you're doing this strategy of like giving people really good free value, then they're getting on your email list, and then it's also it doesn't matter what you're selling. It just becomes a lot easier to create that relationship and sell something to them as well.
Right, right. So let me ask you this question. What do you do? So like you made this money, you've even created different types of businesses, you even like moved recently too, right?
I've been in New Mexico. We moved in August of 2020.
Oh yeah, so not recently. So like what do you do to keep yourself not motivated, but from like burning out to where you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I actually like enjoy this and it's not just about scaling my business and that's the only thing I focus on. Like you're actually enjoying life, enjoying the process.
Yeah, I love this question. Because I've definitely been that burnt out person. Like with my photo business, I was burnt out because like I was trading my time for money. And after 16 years, I just sort of lost my passion for that. Like now I get to use all my camera equipment for like YouTube videos, which is fun. But it's a long time. I was only 17 years old when I started my business. It's like I don't really think you really know what you want when you're 17 years old. Um, Anyways, and then with my last business, which was education for photographers, like I love helping people make more money and grow their businesses and stuff. But like I said, I kind of over the years sort of lost my passion for photography. So what I'm saying is I understand burnout. And what my husband and I made sure that we're doing with this business, and the reason I mention him is because we co-own it, Profitable Courses. But what we made sure to do was set like true work hours. And I think a lot of people that go into
Nice.
business for themselves, they're like, I don't want to be feeling like I have a job. I don't want to be feeling like I'm in corporate again, blah, blah, blah. But like, there's a reason that these corporate companies have that structure, you know? And I just think, you know, it doesn't need to be 8 to 5 every day like a corporate company, but you need to come up with what's the structure for yourself. Like, maybe it's you work 4 hours a day, Monday through Thursday, and you take off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I don't know, whatever it is for you, but I do find it very important to like set work hours and stick to them, but also on the same coin, stick to your non-work hours because like I get really passionate about what I do and I could work every day, all day, you know. But then, you know, after so many weeks, like you're going to burn out. And
Yeah.
then it could be bad over time. I don't know. What do you think? What are some of the things you do for
Well,
balance?
let me ask you this follow-up question. So, like, I think the issue that I've had, and one of my friends here, like, he's from the States. I met him in Mexico. We ended up being in London during the same time randomly. And now he came out here to Budapest, Hungary.
Mm,
And he was just not sleeping well, like feeling
mm.
stressed. And it's not that like
As a business?
yeah, and it's not that, okay, setting the hours, it's the fact of, like, you hear a lot of people saying, like, "You gotta be hustling, like, all the time. You gotta be scaling your business. You gotta be working. You gotta be getting clients. Like, how dare you go to the movies or go do this?" Like, so it's
Mm.
like, how do you I think that's the issue with people, like, they feel like even myself, like, we feel guilty when it's like we close our laptop at 6 p.m. and we go watch a movie or we go eat dinner because it's like, you're not hitting 100K months. You're not growing. You're not a millionaire. You don't have the Lamborghini. You don't have this. Like, what have you done to like turn that part of your brain off? That's like, okay, it
Yeah.
is okay for me to stop at 6 or whatever time it is and go enjoy my life and come back to the things tomorrow.
Mhm. Oh, man, I love this question. I feel like we could do like a whole episode on this. But yeah, I would say if you're in that situation, just like give yourself some grace for a term of lack of a better word, but um to know that you can slowly kind of fix it over time, but like you're probably not going to fix it tomorrow. Like I
Right.
know for myself, you know, I used to pull all-nighters at my studio. Like I would literally work all like my husband would be like, "Where are you? Like why aren't you coming home?" I'm like, "I'm at the studio. I'm working." Like, "Oh, I just love what I do," you know? And then like 2 days later, I would be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sick. I'm so tired," you know, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. So anyways, I would say it's multiple things. So find hobbies and things that you like outside of your business. That
Yeah.
is, I think, very important and very healthy and something not a lot of people talk about. And I should caveat this by saying that after I closed my last business, I did almost 3 years of weekly therapy sessions. And it really, like, not trying to say like I'm like a great person, but like it helped me be a better person. Okay. It helped me be a better person. It helped. And I think that the therapy also got me more in touch with like what I really want. And I can tell you, like, it's not awards, it's not $1 million number or whatever. Um, so I made it. You can laugh. We can make fun of myself here, but in 2020, I moved to New Mexico, and one of my goals was like make 2 friends. Like it was a goal, and I went on what's that app? Bumble. You can actually use it to make friends, not just dates.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay.
And I
That's the
did
excuse.
the whole data thing. I'm like, "Okay, well, if I match with this many people, I'll go on this many friend dates, I'll make this many friends." Like
Okay, honey, I need to make 2 friends. I'm on Tinder, but I'm just trying to make some friends
yeah,
myself.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Tinder for sure. No, but like it worked, and I have really great friends here now, and funny enough, none of them are business owners. And what we have in common is like hiking, camping, like going out and doing things in nature, and it could be different for you, but for me, like, I get really excited to go to work, but I get just as excited when I'm done with work to, like, go on a hike or hang out
Yeah.
with my friends or go to the movies. And my husband and I, we also have set days. We're not perfect about it, but, like, Friday is usually, like, date night, and we'll do that. And then, like, every Wednesday, we usually do, like, family dinner night with my family that lives here. Um, so having, like, a set routine, and I noticed that my happiness, if I hung out with my family once a week and one friend once a week, I noticed my happiness was like way up. And my productivity at work, therefore, was also
Yeah.
a lot higher. But I also want to talk about one other thing with burning out in terms of selling, because I got to a point where with doing those live webinars every week, I got really burnt out, and like selling doesn't really give me energy. Like I don't like doing sales calls. I've done them, like whatever. I don't, I actually like doing webinars, but I don't like doing them every single week for like 6 months. And so I think it's kind of like that short term versus long term. Like right now, I'm at a really happy place with my business and myself. And I think one of the biggest things is because I'm not actively doing sales.
Yeah.
Like because I've built up those automated funnels so that now my main job is just making content, which is what I like to do. Maybe you don't like making content. Maybe you like being on doing phone sales, and that's fine. Like you have to figure out like what the thing is that you're good at and that you like, and sort of build your business around that, um, so that you're happy.
The thing I've been thinking about lately, and it's like it sounds like obvious, but when you think about it on a deep level, it's kind of like creepy, really. It's like really mind blowing. And it's the thing I've been thinking about is like everything, like for you, everything you've done in your life, you already done it. Like it's gone. Like all the stuff we talked about is done. Like you're done. Like it's a new day. All the stuff is done. Like, and that's all we're doing is creating memories. So I'm like, man, all the troubles I went through, all the fun things I did are like in the past. Like it's done. Like, and it like think about that. Like it's a lot of stuff we did and boom, it's done. So I'm just like, it's really about all we have is like now, right? So
Mhm.
like the stuff you do now does add up over time. So it's like tomorrow is going to be based on what you did today and yesterday and all that type of stuff. But it's like, how can you enjoy like today? Because like
Mhm.
tomorrow is gone. You know what I mean? So I just started looking at it as like work is like just like a part of that. Like marriage is another part, like friends, food, all these different types of things. And it's like, how can you have a complete day? And I think when you have a complete day, you sleep better, like, and that allows you to have a good next day. And I think whenever we're just working nonstop is actually counterproductive because you're just doing random stuff. But if you say like, all right, I only have from, let's even go extreme, I only have from 9 to 12 to work every day. You can only do important stuff, or you're just wasting time. So
Yes.
now it makes me like, okay, if it's not important, I can't do it right now. And I would find myself like, okay, I could be spending time with my wife, but I need to hustle, so I'm redoing my about page. And it's like, what for what? You know what I mean? It's not going to do any. It's not going to change anything. And
Yeah.
so I think like it's a hard thing to do, but I think it's like just realizing that it's okay. Like we don't need to all work till our eyes bleed. If your kids can't eat or something like that, it's different. You got to do what you got to do.
Mhm.
But it's just like slowing down. And I think when you slow down, you can focus on the things that are important, actually do a good job. And like you just have to trust that it's going to work out. Like I think that's the thing. You just have to have faith in the process that like
Mhm.
you're going to get that client, you're going to make the money, you're going to there's times where I try to like, oh, I need to understand like my RMS, or I need to understand like exactly this pain point. And like you're just trying to work all day for it to come to you. And it's like sometimes you just have to shut it down. It's like it's gonna come the next day or the next day.
Mhm.
Or like you said, 6 months. It might take time, but it comes. Enjoy the other things in the process.
One thing that was really eye-opening for me several years ago was I had, a lot of, um, female business owner friends, and I don't know, we got to an age where a lot of them started having kids. And what I noticed was, like, I was thinking in my head, like, "Oh my gosh, like, they're gonna have babies and now they're gonna have no time for their business." I don't have kids, so that's my thought, right? But what I noticed was these women grew their businesses bigger, better
Oh
after
wow.
having kids. And it made me realize, like, it's not about the amount of hours you're putting in. And I know everyone says this, but working smarter rather than harder, because just like you're saying, like, when you're forced to do your work in a little window, I actually almost think it makes you usually better, because like
Really?
now
Yeah.
you're like, I only have 3 hours. What are the things that are actually going to move the needle? Because like you said, if you're working 8 hours a day every single day, you are probably doing a crap ton of busy work. Like my husband and I, we work usually Monday through Thursday, like maybe 4 hours a day. Like we're really not working that much, to be honest with you. Um, But we get a lot done. We get a lot done, and we do also hire smart. So we have,
I
people
think,
on our
like, we
team.
have to shift our mindset from hours to output,
Yeah.
like, results. Like, a lot there's times where, like, I've made, like, 5,000, $10,000 in a day, but then I'm like, "Oh, I didn't post, like, 3 times. I didn't DM these 3 people," and it's like, you're thinking about, like, the stuff that you did, not the results, and you feel guilty. It's like, "Oh, I'm watching a movie," and it's like, "Why should I be watching a movie if I didn't do this, and this?" But it's like, you already achieved the result that you wanted to achieve, regardless of how many hours you put in. And I think people might hear you say that, and it's like, oh, 4 hours, like that's not working. But it's like, if I'm making a lot of money in 1 hour,
Mhm,
why would I work 60 hours a week to make the same amount just to say that I'm hustling or that I'm working? Like, it just doesn't really make sense. So
mhm.
I just try to shift my mindset to that. It's like, I think a lot of people don't give themselves credit too. It's like you're doing a lot. Like, you like, I had to tell my friend, like, bro, like, just take a break and like realize like what you're like, bro, you're from Brooklyn, bro. Like, most of
Dude,
your friends are
smoke some
dead.
pot, have a drink, like,
Yeah.
honestly, I'm just gonna come out and say it, like, taking a weed gummy too, that sometimes will help me. I'm, like, just saying, like, that will
Oh,
sometimes help me get out of work mode and just, like, chill out.
bottom line, forget all this
It's legal in
self-talk
New
and
Mexico.
stuff. Just take a weed gummy and you're good.
Like, Molly,
And
what's your advice? Do drugs, 100%.
if you don't know where to find them, she has an ebook on how to make them, and it was
Drugs are good, okay?
for
Yeah.
$47.
Um, yeah, so, what was the other thing I was gonna say? So the other thing that I do as far as that I think helps with balance is anytime I wanna implement something in the business, I do it myself first, then I document the process, and then I hand it off.
Yes.
So, I'm not worrying about, "Oh, I need to post this many times per day," or, "I need to get this many people into a funnel," or whatever, because I have my team doing those things. So, just like one example is, so I'll record, X amount of YouTube videos and X amount of shorts per day. But that's the only part that I do, because then from there it goes to my team and they do everything else. So they'll do all the editing, all the scheduling, like everything. Um, so yeah, that way I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. I just have to worry about getting the actual videos done.
And if you don't know how to do that, join Content Made Easy. We'll show you how to do it.
Do it. What's that beeping noise? Are we like out of time or something?
No, so I have this thing actually. It might be actually cool for people to check this out. So I have this basically we were trying to like test like messaging people or like leads that we had, and I didn't like, again, I like to like be able to shut things down, but when everyone has like your phone number, like
Mm,
sometimes you can't, they're calling you. So I found this, and when we were traveling it was like a little bit difficult sometimes. So I found this thing called Open Phone, and basically you can buy like a virtual phone number and you can message like through there. So then if I want to turn it off, I just close that app, and then no one has like my personal number. So
mm.
I think like I didn't like, you have to like, you can't just close the app. You have to like hit like right click and hit quit or something like that. Or else like every time someone sends me a message on here, like has a little that weird little noise. So that's what it
Oh,
is.
okay. I thought it was like the browser. I was like, "Uh-oh,
Mhm.
what am I doing?"
How do you like it out there? Where you said you're in New Mexico?
I absolutely love it. So and that's another thing, like, we were living in Wisconsin, and, I was like early 20s. Like, I just, for whatever reason, I, like, listened to other people too much. Like, you need to, like, learn to decipher advice, like, what's good for you and what's not. But when I would go to these masterminds, everyone would be like, "You live in Wisconsin, like, ew, why?" And I'm like, "I don't know,
Exactly.
like, it's nice." Like, I don't know. And, granted, I didn't like the winters, and, like, the town we were living in was kinda small, and so, like, all the business networking was just, like, MLMs. Like, I wanted, somewhere to meet more business people. So my husband and I moved to Austin,
Ah, okay.
and we actually, though, we lived there for, like, I don't know, almost 3 years, and we just didn't like it for us. So I'm not like, Austin's great, but we really learned a lot about ourselves. We were like, "Oh, I guess we don't just care about, like, business networking," because
Yeah,
what we
like
noticed.
what didn't you like about it?
Yeah, so what we noticed was, like, and this was just our experience. I'm not trying to, like, crap on Austin or whatever,
No,
but
I think this is good because I was talking about this on the other podcast where like people need to like your own environment. Like a
Mhm.
lion is like, I love the jungle, but like if you're a goldfish, it's like, bro, like you're not gonna like it out there,
Well,
right?
it's
But
like
if
a
you
lot
just
of people are like, "Why do you live in New Mexico?" Like, ew. So, okay, anyway, so we were
yeah,
living in Wisconsin, and I don't regret leaving Wisconsin. Like, winters were really harsh. It was just it's Wisconsin is it's a very like, have babies, like go to church, like whatever, which is fine, but like not for my husband and I, like that's not us.
not
So
for
we
us
moved.
that take weed gummies every day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We were just getting high and just kidding. No, it was very illegal in Wisconsin, so we would never do any of that.
We moved to
Anyway,
Austin.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we moved to Austin and we moved to Austin. We got the big house, like I don't know, $500,000 house, whatever. And like we had like the life on paper. And we just found like we were going to all these different business networking events, which is what we thought we wanted. We were like, we want to meet all these entrepreneurs. And it was great and we learned a lot. But what we noticed was like a lot of the people at the business networking events, like they didn't actually want like real friendships. Like they just wanted to like network about business, which is
Uh,
fine. But like Aaron and I are very much like, we want like real friends, like
same.
I mean, like when I met D, like we talk a lot, like we don't just talk about business, like I genuinely would consider you my friend, like
Yeah,
I
we're like
I, I
we're
enjoy
always just like, how are things going? Not like, are you
yeah.
looking to sell in 2023?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The sale is coming, D, so you can look for it soon. Just kidding.
6 months. 6 months.
I've
I'm
been
waiting for
working
that
this
six
friendship
months.
for 3 years so that I could get you on a high ticket phone call. Um, so yeah, I don't know. And like again, I'm not trying to like that's just it's very like networky, which is great, but we just found out
You
that's
just
not what we
realized that
wanted.
that wasn't for you.
Yeah, and then we also like we had hiked like almost every trail within like a year. Like there just isn't like a lot of hiking and we didn't realize cuz in Wisconsin there's like tons of state parks and like all this stuff to do outside. Texas is mostly private land. Like we
Mhm.
didn't know that. So there's actually not like in my opinion for how much outdoor stuff I like to do, I just did not find that there was like enough outdoor stuff. Um and then there's like a lake, but the lake gets algae and then like you can't go in the lake. I don't know. There was just a lot of like stuff that I just didn't really
So, like,
care for.
so let's break this down like a minute. So like this is very very important though because
Yeah.
I was talking to someone else about this and like people literally I think the reason why a lot of people are unhappy is like their environment, but they're listening to so many people rather than what is it that would allow you to be happy every day.
That's the
So
thing. Like we made a list of all the things we thought we wanted, but like, yeah.
then okay, but then you actually did it, which is good, and then you realize that you didn't like these things. So how do you go from okay, we make the list, we actually do it, we have this house. A lot of people would say, well, you bought the house, like you need to stay there. Like, what are you going to do? So how did you go from okay, you realize that this isn't for you to like moving on to the next thing? What was that like?
Yeah, so and I do wanna say one more thing about the house. We had this realtor who was great, by the way, and, I kept saying to, like, him and all of our friends that were in Austin, like, "I really think we should Aaron and I should live downtown." I'm like, "We just seem like, we're not having kids," and everyone was like, "No, no, no, you really wanna live
Where
in."
were you? Where were you?
So we were in this suburb called Bee Cave.
Oh,
It's a suburb outside of Austin, and like, I mean, our house was like $500,000, and we were like the poor house, like that's how like wealthy that area is. And what's funny is one of our vehicles is a what's it called, like a Frontier truck. Um, and one time on next door, we noticed one of our neighbors. They took a photo of us driving our truck, and they were like, "Look out for criminal activity." Like, just because
we
we didn't
live
drive, like
here. We
no,
live
like,
here.
because we didn't drive, like, a white Mercedes, they thought we were, like, criminal activity. I can't even make this up. Like, it was just not for us. Like, we are not that
So you
bougie.
said that so you're telling this is before you got the house that you're like, you wanted to move
No,
downtown or
we had already been living there for, like, 2
okay,
years,
good.
like,
So
a
you're
year.
like, "Hey, we think we wanna live downtown."
Yeah, and, everyone was like, "No, no, you really wanna buy a house in this area, blah, blah, blah," and we were like, "Okay." But yeah, it wasn't for us. Like it was like the neighbors, they would just drive into their garage
Mhm.
and they would never leave their house. Like nobody was ever outside. Like Aaron and I were the only people ever out walking. It was so weird. So it just was not for us. So how we ended up moving was New Mexico was actually one of the other areas on our list when we made our list to leave Wisconsin. And my brother and my brother lives with my mom. They wanted to leave Wisconsin as well. And my brother also made a list, and Albuquerque, New Mexico area was on his list. And so when they told me they were going to move, I was like, oh my God, Aaron, I'm like, this is it. Cause, we really wanted to move, but we didn't know where to go. And we wanted to live by family, and New Mexico was on our list as well. We had been here before and we really liked it. So yeah, that's how we ended up moving here. And I think I don't regret obviously moving to Austin because it made it really clear what we wanted. Like we thought our list was what we wanted. And then we realized, like, you don't realize if you haven't experienced it, like, you don't know if you want it or not.
Exactly,
Like, we
yeah.
thought we wanted like the perfect brand new build house. Our yard was a quarter of an acre and it backed up. Our fence touched 6 different properties because it was a suburb. And we're like, we don't want this. Like, we want to have, like, we have 6 acres now with mountain views, 360 degrees. You can't see any of our neighbors. That is what we love. We just didn't know. So
I just think that's so important. Like I tell people, like, bro, you got like think about like how can you be happy like every day, like all day, like what weather, environment, people, and like go find those places. Like that's why we started traveling, and it's like
yeah.
once you do that, it just changes. Like I can just imagine like you looking out your window, seeing people pull in, go inside their house, that feeling versus like looking outside now, seeing mountains, going on a hike. Like you just feel so much better about your day, which allows you to like do
Yeah.
everything else so much better.
And we actually talked to we do have neighbors. We just can't like see them from our house, but we talked to all of our neighbors. I have their phone numbers. We go on walks. Like we made cookies for our neighbors. Like we love that. Like I don't want to live somewhere where I don't know my neighbors, like where they just go in in their garage and just avoid me. Like I like to know my neighbors. I like to talk to people and yeah, whatever. So anyways, we really love it here. But yeah, you have to experience things. It's kind of like finding your passion. Like in order to find your passion, you have to try a lot of different stuff to really figure out which one is.
And so when you're like, what is your this is like just me like being curious. Like
Yeah.
what is your like all right, you're in when you're in New Mexico, like what is your lifestyle like? Like are you like guys like big spenders? Or are you more like conservative? Like what's that look like?
Well, what's funny is I feel like we've really okay, so like in Wisconsin, for example, I don't know, like we had gotten out of college when we lived in that area. So we were still living like we were in college, but making a lot of money.
Did you guys
So
go to college together, by the way? Like
what was
same
that?
school? You guys went to the same school?
No, or yes, we did. We met at the same call. We met at UW Stout, and then my husband and I both transferred to different schools, and then we were like, that was dumb because we're in love. And then I like dropped out of college and moved to Eau Claire where he was in school.
Oh,
So
that's so cool.
yeah, we've been together for 15 years, so it's been a long, amazing journey. But yeah, so in Wisconsin, we were just like really chill. We'd have friends over, we'd have backyard, we'd hang a sheet on our garage, and we'd have like a projector movie night, and we'd have
Oh,
friends
that's so cool.
over. Yeah, like we loved that, and I don't know, for some reason, we just thought we wanted like the big city, nice house, business networking, like life, and we just clearly didn't. But like I said, I'm glad we tried it because we wouldn't know. But yeah, so what is my life like here? Super chill. Super chill. Like we've done like have a chef, have a personal trainer, like we've done all those things. Well, actually my husband does have a personal trainer right now. But we are a lot more low key now. Like
But that's not like super crazy luxury. That's like a
yeah.
like a crazy.
It's not that I'm against those things. It's just like we noticed over time, like having a chef in our house, we just didn't really like it. Like we kind of enjoy just making our own meals or ordering some that are um like those take and go from his gym. What are those called? Like the pre-made meals.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, so like on a day-to-day, monthly basis, like it's just like I'm just curious. Like, are you guys more of like, okay, we're gonna cook at home? Are you trying to go out? Like, I think a lot of the people see like coaches as like that are making money as like, okay, I'm driving a Lamborghini and I go to brunch every day and I have like this beautiful like eggs Benedict, and then at night I have like a
Yeah.
steak. Like, what does that look like? Or like, what's the
Yeah.
like?
No,
What do
I
you
love
guys?
I love this. Nobody's ever asked this. So yeah. Aaron and I are very like So Aaron grew up in the middle of literally nowhere, Wisconsin. Like you would never, it's not even a corporated town. Like it's like he used to go on walks and fend off black bears with sticks, like growing up. I'm not even making that up. Like he grew up in the middle of nowhere. I grew up where I thought it was the country, but I had a golf course in my backyard. So apparently I did not grow up in the
It was
country.
the country club.
Yeah, except for we didn't, we were poor. We didn't go to it. But okay, so anyways, what's our day-to-day like? So every morning we wake up and Aaron makes, like this morning he made us these like breakfast smoothies. And then Aaron drives 40 minutes into the gym because we live in the middle of nowhere. So
Goodness.
he drives to the gym like a few days a week, and then he'll stay in the city and work from a coffee shop. And it's nice because then, now I have the whole house to myself, so I can really focus. And then he also is like on his own, so he can really focus. We notice we get a lot more done if we're not in the house working at the same time, because otherwise we just want to talk to each other the whole time. So yeah, and then every morning I go for a long walk with my dog and I listen to a podcast. I don't know if you could hear that, but that was him shaking. And
I thought
then
that was paper.
no, yeah, that was him. And then we feed the cats. We have barn cats, so we feed the barn cats.
So you're
Then
not really like spending like a ton of money. Like you're not doing any like super luxurious like lifestyle
like
type
I
of
mean,
thing.
like I said, my husband has a personal trainer. He's a strongman competitor. So he does like strongman competitions. No, we've done both worlds. So we've done the low key, low spending world. We've also done the very expensive, like $3,000 trainer a month, $1,000 of horseback riding lessons a month, like personal chef, like all that stuff. And it just made our life a little bit more chaotic and not as happy. So I feel like we're kind of at like a balance right now. So anyways, yeah, my husband drives a Frontier. I drive a Ford hybrid. Like I don't even really like cars, so we just buy whatever. But yeah, I would say we do the occasional like fancy, date night dinner.
That's so cool. Like
But
what would be your like like not what would be your feedback? How do I word this? Like did you guys get to the point where you and your husband are pretty much making decisions on like what would make you happy, and like how did you kind of shut out like what everyone else is telling you? I think that's where people get stuck. Like, oh, you're making more money. You got to go live in this neighborhood. Oh, you're in this
yeah,
neighborhood. You got to have this car. Oh, you've been married this long. You got to have this kid. Then you have this kid. Then you got to do this. And you got to blah, 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 blah. And like
yeah.
you're living this life you don't want to live and you don't know how to get out of it. But like you guys are figuring out like what you want to do, and that's what you're doing. Like, how do you?
Unfortunately, I think the only way to really learn it is to try a lot of things and learn the things that you don't like and the things that you do. At least that's what it was for us, because like I said, like we thought we wanted that certain lifestyle that because all the other business owners that we knew, like that's what they were doing, and they genuinely are happy, like they like that, but like we just found that it wasn't for us. Um so yeah, we just had to find over time. Like for example, so I don't know if Frank Kern invented this, but I saw a YouTube video. You can Google it, like Frank Kern, and then The Perfect Day, I think it's called. And it's like a 1 or 2 hour presentation about how to like craft your perfect day. And this exercise was actually like pretty life changing for me. So I remember I was on my porch in Austin, and this was the first time where I had enough money, at least in my mind. I had had enough money for a long time. That's probably it. Yeah, it's a pretty old video. But I finally got to a point where I had like employees and structure and things where I had time to really think about what is my perfect day. So I remember he says, write down like everything from the first thought you want to think when you wake up to the last thought you want to think before you go to bed. Like everything, like how do you want to feel? How do you want to look? What do you want to do? Like, what do you want to say to yourself in your head? Blah, blah, blah. And I remember one of the things was I was like, I really want to get into horseback riding. And I hadn't ridden horses since like, I don't know, I was in camp as a kid. But yeah, I started taking lessons every single week, and it's something I love. And I'm actually looking for a trainer here in New Mexico now. But I think doing that exercise, I didn't do it until after we already were in Austin. And I think that also really helped me realize what I wanted. Um, yeah. So I hope you guys enjoy that video.
No, that's cool because I think then basically we're passionate about our business, but our business is a way to make the funds to make the rest of that day possible
Mhm. Yeah, I
rather
think a
than
lot of
it being the
people
day.
exactly, like, your business should be a vehicle for the things that you want to achieve in life, and it shouldn't be, like your business shouldn't run you.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
No, I love that. I feel like we could just we got to do another one of these because we could probably just talk
Yeah,
about
I'm down
something.
whenever because, like, this is what we would talk about regardless of being recorded,
Right.
so,
Last
like
time, it's funny because I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh, this would have been a really good podcast. And you're like, this would have been a really good podcast. I'm like, all right, yeah, we got to do it.
we'll just do a podcast.
So,
Um,
like, how can let people know like how they can find you, like if they want to work with you, like just like the basic things, like how can they get in touch with you and all that type of stuff.
yeah, sure, so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just search my name, Molly Kaiser, on YouTube, and, if you wanna learn about passive income, ebooks, courses, all that kinda stuff, you can subscribe. But the best way would probably be to go to my website, profitablecourses.com, and that's where we have all the freebies and free downloads and helpful stuff for you to get started.
Man, appreciate you. Basically, it's gonna keep you in here after I end it, so you don't have to like leave. Like we can chat afterwards. But really appreciate you coming on here. A lot of good information, and it's just like appreciate all the wisdom you've given me over the years, just outside
Thanks,
of
ditto. I very much enjoy talking to you all the time. So I was more than happy to be on the podcast, and any other time you think I can add more value, just let me know.
Let's do it. Well, thanks for coming on, and
Thanks,
thanks for
Steve.
tuning in, people. See you.